And we are back after the final debate. Let's go to our roundtable of analysts. Chris Christie, let me begin with you. Same question I asked John Carl. Did President Trump do what he needed to do?
I think he did, George, in terms of his demeanor tonight. I think he ran a debate that was very strong. His demeanor was good. I think he was talking to the American people. And I think the other thing that I knew he needed to do tonight, which I think he did, was to show the contrast between the policies of his administration and what would be a Biden administration. So for people out there who are listening who want to know what the choice is, I think they got a much better opportunity to hear that choice tonight. I think it was a good night for the president. I think he did what he needed to do tonight and what's possible to do in a 90-minute debate. I think the president did quite well tonight.
Rahm Emanuel?
I think Joe Biden was most passionate about the concerns and the squeeze on middle-class families who are sitting at the kitchen table trying to figure out how to pay bills, health care costs, college costs, mortgage payment. And that passion of understanding that intensity of pressure on families in a very intimate and personal way really came through. And you can also understand, he said, let's have a character debate, and that's what's on the ballot. And I think he understood that I'm going to be a president for all America. Now, I would say Trump for about 40 minutes. He played to the script, and then the mask came off, and the old Trump was there. And then I would also say that while the microphone was off, the camera was on. And when Joe Biden was speaking, Trump looked like a petulant child. And the whole time that split screen did not work for Donald Trump. And so the mic may have been down, but the camera was on, and it was hot. And his facial gestures did not work for him. And at the end of the day, I also think this. The American people have made a decision about this election. It's about Donald Trump. It's a referendum there. The dynamics of that for the election, the architecture is set, clear, and they're going to go making a decision about Trump and whether Biden is an acceptable alternative, and Biden cleared that bar.
Let's take that question to Sarah Fagan. Sarah Fagan, did President Trump make it a choice election tonight?
He did a much better job in this debate than the first one of making it a choice. And I agree with Chris. I think the president did quite well. But what the president needed tonight to ultimately change the trajectory of this race was for Biden to make a big mistake. And I did not see that. I thought the vice president answered himself quite well. He was forward-leaning and at times addressed the American people directly, which I thought were strong moments. So I don't think this race changes much. Perhaps we'll see a slight tightening of the polls. And I think that will help Trump. I think as the narrative shifts, it's helpful as the race closes for him. But he didn't get it. He didn't get what he needed out of Biden tonight.
Yvette Simpson?
You know, I think Biden had his best night tonight. He continues to get better and better in these debates. And I think the fact that he actually had time to clarify, to be empathetic, to even acknowledge some of his mistakes, I think is going to speak to a lot of people who might be on the fence about him. I think the real challenge is the bar is so low for Trump that the fact that he didn't have a fit and roll around on the floor means he had a good debate is ridiculous. I just want to call one thing out that I thought was really, really problematic. He said, I am the least racist person in this room, with an African-American female moderator. I mean, how divorced from reality you have to be able to say something like that in the midst of a debate. So I think Biden had his best night. I think he won overwhelmingly. I think Trump was better than last time, but I think he just sounds ridiculous to most people who are looking for a real leader right now, which most Americans are.
Yvette, thank you. Matthew Dowd, what changed?
Nothing changed. I mean, it's funny that we're saying that Donald Trump did better. I mean, last time we described him as a bull in a china shop, so he wasn't a bull in a china shop, but that doesn't mean he won the debate. I think when this is all said and done, Joe Biden won this debate because he raised his performance. Donald Trump raised his a bit. It wasn't as much of a food fight and free-for-all, and so that means that's to Joe Biden's benefit when he's going into this 10 points up with 50 million people who have already voted. Donald Trump did nothing to lower Joe Biden's favorability, so this is a net win for Joe Biden.
Let's get some fact checks right now as well. I want to bring in Cecilia Vega. Cecilia, there's pretty impassioned debate over that whole family separation policy of the Trump administration, those children who are now separated from their parents, over 500 children. One of the things we saw from President Trump trying to continue to push it back on the Obama administration and their immigration policy.
Yeah, that's been a go-to move on his front. But these 545 children, the reality is, are still today separated from their families, their parents, despite repeated efforts to locate their parents. And the reality is this is a direct result of what many believe to be that failed policy by the Trump administration to separate families at the border. This is nothing short of a travesty. That's the fact on that. These families cannot be relocated right now. The president was asked specifically, what is your plan to locate and reunite these families? He then started talking about the smugglers who he believes are bringing these children to the border. He said he will have a plan, but I don't know how you go about reuniting these families when for a long time they've been running ads in places like Mexico and Central America trying to locate families in rural parts of the country to no success. And the issue right now, George, is that there are a record 32 million eligible Latinos to vote, a historic number, in this upcoming election. And it is an issue like this that could tilt the tables in favor of one candidate or the other in some swing states like Arizona and Florida.
See you, Vega. Thanks very much. Let's bring in Dan Abrams. Dan, we heard several charges from the president. I think for a lot of people, they wouldn't know what he was talking about when he was talking about Biden's personal corruption, a little bit about Hunter Biden. Most of those charges unverified, several misleading or untrue.
Right. So you've got the $1 billion plus from China. You got the $3.5 million from Russia. The key question there is, what's the link to Joe Biden? Right? You're talking about Hunter Biden's business in China. Yes, Hunter Biden was involved in a fund that raised a lot of money, that did invest in Chinese companies. Hunter Biden says he resigned from the company, says he didn't make a penny. Regardless, there's no evidence that Joe Biden got any of that money. Also, on Russia, that came from the Senate Intel report, right? This idea that $3.5 million came from the ex-wife of the mayor of Moscow, etc. Again, the sourcing on that is a little tricky because Hunter Biden's lawyers suggest they've confused one company with another and Hunter Biden wasn't actually involved in that company. Regardless, again, no evidence that Joe Biden was getting any of that. And again, because Joe Biden has released his tax returns, you can look and you can see whether he would have had any income coming from places like that. The one thing Joe Biden attacked President Trump on, the Chinese bank account. Of course, President Trump says he just opened it to explore opportunities there. And
the tax returns as well. Martha Raddatz, you were in Pennsylvania today. You've talked with a lot of undecided voters. Think this changed any minds?
I don't think it did, George. And there's so few undecided voters. I talked to a lot of Trump supporters. I said, what is it about President Trump? They said they like his strength. They like it when he tells it like it is. Now, when he tells it like it is, it actually all the time isn't like it is. But I think those Trump voters saw the man they want, and those supporting Biden, and several of the Trump voters I spoke to from 2016 have flipped to Biden, and they said it's all about character. So they saw the man they wanted, George.
And they have already been voting in Pennsylvania for about a week or more. Going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. Debate season is over, closing in on 11 days now into the final votes of what is almost certain to be a record-breaking American election. That is all for us tonight. Nightline and your late local news are coming up. I'll see you tomorrow on GMA. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.